Welcome to the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast, your one-stop shop for television, movie, video games, comic books, book reviews, and more. Now, without further ado, here's Steven and Mike.
That'll be me. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Two Geeks and a Microphone show. I am your co-host, Mr. Stephen Boster, along with my illustrious co-host, the one, the only, Mr. Michael Shanks. Mike, say hey to everybody.
Good morning to all you geeks out there in geekdom land.
We're giggling because, is it Michael or is it Mike? Which is it?
As long as you don't call me late for dinner. And my wife is cringing right now.
Everybody, we were joking in the pre-show just a little bit about should it be Michael or should it be Mike? Because people ask me the same thing: is it Steven or is it Steve?
You know
my
what?
Dad would correct everybody and make sure it was Steven, kind of a thing.
Okay, so Brenda gets all huffy if people call me Mike, and she prefers Michael, and she gets defensive when they refer to you as Steve. So like last week when we had Mark on from Three Dads, Mark a few times said Steve, and Brenda's going, she's watching it going, it's Steven. It's Steven.
Right. But so funny, in all fairness to Mark, who I loved having on the show last week, absolutely loved it. Never did I correct him, nor did I ever tell him that it was kind of a thing. But that, yeah. So I just loved having Mark. You're kind of awestruck sometimes. You don't want to correct anybody that you're awestruck with and appreciative of them being on your show because he was great.
Right, I get it. No, it was all good. It was just funny to hear her go, "It's Steven." Good morning, Zig, and Zig in there with the Steve.
Steve, well played, Zig. I love it.
No, I always refer to you as Steven also. So
yeah, that's Zig from Nerdery and Murdery. Everybody, it's a great podcast. If you ever get a chance to listen to it, you will get some knowledge. I'm just saying, they do some great stuff. Oh golly!
Yes, we love both Jeff and Zig. They do amazing work, and I'm a little behind on both their podcasts and Three Geeky Dads right now, so I got to get caught up. But
I hear you, man. This season's just busy for some reason. It is crazy. Hey, go for Fluffernut. Welcome. Morning. Glad you're here with us. Very cool. Well, today, everybody, we are going to answer the question: does evil die tonight?
Evil dies tonight.
Right. I loved it so much in the second one. It got mocked so much in the second movie, Halloween Kills. Because they said it all the time. I don't think they ever said it once in this one. That's a freebie, everybody. I'm getting ahead of myself. So
we'll talk a little bit about that.
Okay, that sounds good. I love it.
But before we do that, let's get into a little geeky news.
Right on.
I guess that's what we're calling this segment now, geeky news.
Geeky news. I love it. Geeky news and geekdar.
Right.
Sweet.
So I don't have a lot again, and I hope I'm not beating a dead horse.
Okay.
But I mean, partially, I'm excited, but I do believe that we now have confirmation that Henry Cavill is returning to the DCEU.
Ooh.
Yes. And the reason I say that is because I've heard several short interviews with Dwayne Johnson. I mean, just
for Black Adam.
Yes.
Okay.
I've heard several. They're like these in passing type interviews. Actually, I heard one in a sit down interview too, which was really good. But he said at the end, the question has been brought up several times: is Superman returning to the DCEU? And his response has been, all I can say is, welcome back. So I would say that's 99.9% confirmation that Henry Cavill is returning to the DCEU as the Man of Steel. And I am super excited about that.
I have heard that, for Black Adam, everyone keeps saying, make sure you stay for the end credit scene. So I assume that's probably where we'll see that.
Right.
Not that that's a spoiler, because I don't know.
Right.
So I'm just saying that's what people are saying.
That's what I've heard too, and I think that's what's happening. I think
there goes. Yeah, Roger said he said big surprise in the credits. Okay, so he must pop up.
Well, I'm surprised to see Roger on. Roger's actually in the hospital right now, so prayers and good thoughts for Roger right now. Anyway, yeah, I think that is what's happening at the end of again, I don't want to give any spoilers, and I don't really think this is a spoiler because we're just guessing and assuming here. We all know what it's right.
right. But just to let everybody know, yes, we will be doing our review of Black Adam next week.
Yes. Oh, I cannot wait. I am super excited.
Didn't you say earlier this is like 15 years in the making or something like that?
I think it's closer to 10, but yeah, it's Dwayne Johnson has been talking about this film for a decade now.
Yeah.
He has wanted to do it for a long time. It kept getting put off and put off and put off, and I don't know why it's been put off so many times, but it looks incredible. I read something. Well, I'll talk about the comic in my Geektar, but I read something in a comic book this morning that I'm probably going to read on the air next week that I think kind of explains his moral code. Yeah, we'll put it that way.
Okay,
little teaser next week.
All right. I love it. Preview, little snippet, little morsel to get you, I got to be here next week. I almost said same bat time, same bat channel. No, that would still be DC. Okay, yeah.
DC. That's definitely DC. All right.
Oh,
that's all I got for the news.
Okay.
I apologize. I just don't have more.
No, that's fine.
So we moving on to Geekdar.
Geekdar. Go for it.
Let's make it official.
Well, you don't need that, Private. We're right here. Now, what is it? Now, what is it? I'm having trouble with the radar, sir. What's wrong with it? I've lost the bleeps, I've lost the sweeps, and I've lost the creeps. The what? The what? And the what? You know, the bleeps, the sweeps, and the creeps. It's not all he's lost.
All right, Steven, you got anything on your Geekdar today?
Well, I just not much. I was getting ready for our sci-fi special this week, so everybody knows that if you hop on our wonderful become a member on our Ko-fi page, we are doing special sci-fi episodes. If you didn't know, yes, if we get new subscribers, we're trying to reach our goal of $500, which are about halfway there, to pay for our restream service for next year. So if we do that, Mike is going to dye his beard.
Well, the goatee portion of
the goatee part of your beard orange.
Yes. So get in there, people.
Right. So anyway, so next weekend we are going to be recording and getting ready. We're going to do They Live, another John Carpenter. So we did the last episode we did was John Carpenter's The Thing, and which we will, I'm sure, reference again here in a little while. and then so I thought that was so funny. We'll get into that. But
Yeah.
So I watched They Live this week. So that was kind of what I did. So I got ready for it. And then the other thing is Kelly and I watched Game of Thrones. And so we've been watching this new House of the Dragon. And I will say that this last episode was actually is probably the best episode of the House of Dragon series.
Oh, really?
So it's really good. So I don't know if anybody else is watching that or not, or kind of a thing, but I really enjoyed this latest episode. So I don't want to give any spoilers or anything if people haven't seen it and stuff, but it was quite interesting. Oh yeah, Sage Page Omega's in the house, everybody.
Good morning, Sage. Awesome.
Whoop,
whoop. Look for a message from us soon. We are finalizing plans for Sandman. So
yeah. Both Zig and Roger at the same time gave their favorite quote from They Live.
That is the best quote from They Live.
It's in the chat, everybody.
I've come
Mike, do you want to say
it? Bubblegum and to kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Yes, very much an 80s film. So anyway, that's all I got on my Geek Jar. So for just this past week. So, and you, Mr. Mike, what is on your Geek Jar?
Okay, so like a lot of times, mine's comic books.
That's all right.
I haven't had a lot of time to watch a lot of stuff this week. I did watch the latest Andor episode, which I did. I was actually very pleased with it. It was an enjoyable episode for once. Had to say that. Anyway, yeah. So and Megan and I have been watching Sandman, and we are enjoying that.
I got a couple of episodes in because everybody, we are planning on doing a whole series review of Sandman. It's just taking us a little bit to get through it.
Right. And we got a special guest planned for that one. So
I'm excited.
He knows who he is. So
right.
And he happens to be listening. So on my Geekdar, I have a comic book, and I am holding up
that cover.
Isn't that a beautiful cover?
So everybody listening, he's holding up a Black Adam cover, or Black Adam comic, but on the cover is Dr. Fate.
Right. So they've been doing these like little one shots of each of the characters of the film. So you're getting kind of like little side stories leading up into the film itself. And this week's was Dr. Fate, which I was very excited to see because Dr. Fate was the issue I'd been waiting for. It was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. You get kind of this sideline story of Dr. Fate. You also get a little sideline story of a couple of the characters that we're going to meet in the film. And you get this sideline story of Black Adam himself, how he's becoming Black Adam per se. Which I think they'll delve more into that in the film. It's just this little thing leading up to it. So these have been really fun issues. They've had Hawkman, Atom Smasher. What is her name? Gosh, I can't think of the girl's name. Man, Cyclone, and now Dr. Fate. Very good.
It's a great looking cover. Sage Page says, "Oh, my phone cut out. I am back." All right, Sage. We're just saying that we've been trying to get through the old Sandman series. Hint, hint. So be looking for a note from us.
The last thing I have on my Geekdar for today is Deceased. The Undead Gods. Did I say that right?
Yes. Oh, that's the new series. That's the last of the whole Deceased. It's supposed to wrap up the whole Deceased line, right?
Right. So I've got issues 1. Now, of course, this is the special cover, one of the special covers, because they didn't have the regular cover when I realized it was on the shelves. So I got the special cover of issue 1. which pretty cool cover. And then issue 2. Actually, I like issue 2's. Or no, that was issue 2. I'm sorry. Issue 1. This is issue 1. And I love the cover of this because it's got Batman on it. It's got Darkseid on it. And
looks good.
I think that's Wonder Woman. I think. Looks incredible. But
what's the name of the series again?
DC's War of the Undead Gods.
Right on.
So be watching for once that series wraps up. I think we'll
do a follow. Yeah, that'll be great. That'll be good.
Follow up on that one.
Yeah. Hey, just to follow up, I did watch the last episode of Andor, the most recent, excuse me.
Right. Yeah, it's not the last.
And I also did watch the last episode of the series of She-Hulk.
I haven't watched yet. And I'm hearing mixed things about it.
This is where everybody and their brother will be yelling at me saying, Steven, save it for the podcast.
Okay. All right. Yes, definitely save it for the podcast.
I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to influence positively or negatively about.
So I'm not going to hear you go, skip this.
Well, again, I'm not saying anything else.
Well, I'm going to watch it. I mean, I've watched every episode so far,
right.
So I'm not gonna quit right as the.
Hey, everybody, I'm gonna ask for your help real quick. We've been talking about T-shirts and stuff, and so Mike this morning was like, "Skip off," and now you said, "Skip this," and we're like, "Skip you." The Steven skip has turned into a whole new meaning for us on this show.
I think we got new catchphrases.
I think so. Oh gosh.
All right. So we ready to delve into a little bit of Halloween?
Real quick. Sage Page says, I love the finale of She-Hulk, but
that was a good one too.
Save it for the podcast. Go for Fluff or Nut says, I need to hear your opinion on this one. On the fence. Richard. Oh, hello, Richard. Welcome. Brenda, skip happens. All right, we're getting a whole list of skip.
Skip this, skip you, skip off, skip happens.
Right? I love it. See, this way when we say skip you, I don't have to put I don't have to check that box in our podcast saying that it is explicit.
That's right. That's exactly right. All right. Oh,
and plus in the natural closed caption things that pop up on YouTube, it usually will put a blank, if someone says a colorful metaphor and all, it just goes blank. It'll put in parentheses and a blank, I've noticed. So the nice thing is see, we can say skip you and it won't put a blank.
Unless it interprets it differently. Because it doesn't always interpret it right.
That is true too. Yes. Well, skip happens.
All right.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the show. Oh my goodness. We are Angie skippity doo dah, skippity. My oh my, what a wonderful day. Oh goodness.
All right, we need to move on. Move along.
Yes.
Move along.
Skippity doo dah. I'm just writing that one down too. Okay. Does evil die tonight?
The phrase that was said like 10,000 times in the second film of the series. Oh,
right. Gosh. Evil dies tonight.
That was the phrase that made me not like that movie as much.
It was great to mock it. Yes.
Yes, it was. It was so much fun mocking it. But let's move on to this one. First of all, what are we using for our
we've got to use William Shatner masks.
Okay. All right.
Or the Michael Myers mask.
Yeah, did you see the meme I shared the other day where
I missed it.
Where these two girls, they see William Shatner and they go, that guy looks just like Michael Myers.
Oh, right.
I love that. That was a great meme.
Okay. All right, so we'll do that. Sage Page, we'll get to your comment here in just a moment. So, yeah. Anyway, Mr. Mike, go for it. Do you want to go first? You want me to go first?
You go first.
All right. So Troy and I'm going to tell on Troy here for a second, but he's going to also hear me. So we watched it sort of. We were planning on watching it together, but then he had his school buddy. They were playing Xbox, so they decided to watch it together. So they had their headsets on, so I wouldn't be able to hear it. So I went to my computer and I started listening to it and watching it and stuff. He loves Michael Myers, and so he gave it a 9 out of 10.
Nice.
Is what he did. Now me, I said 7 out of 10.
Okay.
7 out of 10 Michael Myers masks.
Okay.
7 out of 10. I could you guys are going to kill me.
Oh, wait a minute. First question. Where did you watch it?
I watched it at home.
All right. I already know what the answer is then.
Right? There's a reason. There's a reason I watched it from home.
So 20 minutes?
I watched the first 10, 15 minutes. Then I skipped through the next hour and 10 minutes. And I would stop when things were actually happening. If that makes sense.
Wait a minute. I got a question. So there's a scene where Lori's in her house and Lori gets a bottle of whiskey and she's walking down the steps. You skipped all that, didn't you? No.
Well, I skipped by 10 seconds. 10 second scenes I skipped.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Her walking down the steps, you skipped through that.
Yeah, probably.
I knew it. I knew it. There was a discussion in my house last night about it.
Oh, I'm sure there is. There always is a discussion on did Steven skip this part.
Oh yes, I'm always predicting. Oh,
but Steven, I saw her where she went up. I saw her where she was going up the steps, and her glass and the bottle were clanking and all that. And then she sat down and she poured her whiskey and all that. Then there's the whole scene with the gun and all that.
I'm going to start a game with a point system of Steven skipped. Skip this.
Right. So then I did watch the I would stop
I'd be drunk, Angie.
Right. Right.
I can't afford that much tequila.
If we did a drinking game with it.
Yeah, Angie said do a drinking game. Yeah, I could not afford that much tequila. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry, Steven.
No, it's all right. So it's all good. So all I'm saying is that I did watch the last 20 minutes when it really started picking up and all, because I was not into the whole love story, whatever thing. I get the whole thing of here's Corey and trying to create a connection with a guy who also has been affected by the town, and did the town create him? Look, I don't come for a moral story. I come for a Halloween Michael Myers creative killing spree. And all we really didn't, I don't care about this kid. First I thought, oh, are they going to pass the mantle on to this kid or whatever and stuff and all that. And I'm thankful the way things turned out, and we can talk to it as far as that goes. But honestly, I didn't go to a Michael Myers movie to only see him for 20 minutes. So that's where I'm at with that. That was my thing. So Sage Page, little disappointed. Yes. Yeah, me too. All right, go.
All right.
Mr. Michael.
So I've been waiting for this movie for a long time.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have.
The last movie. Now I say disappointed. The whole evil dies tonight just killed me. If they would have removed that line, I think that movie would have been a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some great creative kills from Michael in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I will admit there was a whole lot less in this one.
There was almost, as far as Michael Myers kills goes, almost next to nothing that was as creative as anything that was in that second movie.
There was one. We'll get to that though, because I made a joke. But
okay.
Anyway.
That's right, Richard. There wasn't much of Michael Myers in the movie.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I will grant you that. However, I like the story of this one. I thought it had a good story to it. Maybe there's a missed opportunity. It all depends on where they wanted to go with this film. I think this is officially the end, which I didn't think was going to happen. The other thing that I thought was going to happen did not. I predicted that Laurie was actually going to die, and that didn't happen. I thought that would actually be a good way. Truth be told, I thought Laurie would go out killing Michael Myers. That's what I figured was going to happen.
Right.
And that's why it would be Halloween Ends, which I think would have been a great way to go out also.
Right.
However, I do have to say I really, really enjoyed the ending of this film.
Okay.
It was very satisfying and a little, in a demented way, sad.
Right. Okay. I have some comments about it.
So spoilers ahead at this point. I will give it an 8 out of 10 Michael Myers masks. Because overall, I really enjoyed the film. I am a fan of the Halloween series. I thought it was a good ender to the series, if it truly is the end, which at this point I do think it is. I think they don't intend to go anymore. So, I don't know if I really. I mean,
yeah.
So Richard says it was more like a love story. Yeah, there was a love story aspect to it, but I felt Corey's story was a little more prevalent than the love story was. Yeah.
I think it was, well, he's saying it was more of Corey, and I agree with him. It was almost Corey's story, the love story part of it. And that was how they were trying to get it connected to, that's how they were trying to get it connected to, what's his name, to the Strodes, and then therefore Michael Myers. And is he going to become the next one? And I'll tell you what, by the time it got to the ending part of his storyline, or the end, whatever, as he was coming to the house or whatever, I was done with Corey. I was done with Corey. I was like, this is dumb. This is dumb. Where in the world is Michael Myers? I don't want to see someone else become Michael Myers. That's not what I came for this. And the concept of, we're going to try to trick everybody, make them think it's Michael Myers, was dumb.
Well,
dumb.
No, there was no trickery. There was no trickery whatsoever. I mean, we knew exactly what was happening the whole time it was going on. The only thing that was confusing, I mean, well, not confusing, but questionable, was, were they gearing Corey up to take over for Michael Myers? And that's how this would turn into the next series. And I got to admit, that's what I thought was happening. So we start off the film. Actually, the way the film starts off was weird, because we have the radio guy talking in the background, and he's the typical rock radio.
You did that very well.
Thank you. I've listened to a lot of rock radio over the years, so that's many years of KC 95. Anyway, the oldest rock and roll station in America, by the way, which is in St. Louis, but I don't listen to it that much anymore. Just because I don't like some of the things they've done. But anyhow, that's a whole different story. But yeah, so it was a different introduction for the whole Halloween movie, which was kind of wild. And it kind of turned me off just for a second, but then we go right into this story of this kid, Corey. Well, I say kid, he's in his early 20s.
Yeah.
Getting ready to go to college. He's saving up money to go to college. And he shows up to babysit at this house. Okay. And we meet the little kid. The little kid's name is Jeremy, I believe, if I remember right. And at first, Jeremy and the family, they all seem, really nice and fun, and, so on and so forth. The mom and dad are going to go out for like a Halloween party or whatever. And so Corey is there to babysit Jeremy while they're out. And Jeremy seems like this really nice little kid, and they're gonna have a good time. And as soon as the parents leave, Jeremy becomes a little shit.
Right. Oh, well, there we go, everybody. I gotta check mark the explicit language.
I'm sorry, but there is no other way to put it. That's what he is. Okay. Jeremy just starts talking real crappy to Corey and everything, which didn't give me much sympathy for Jeremy.
Right.
I'm sorry. I had no sympathy for it. I know that's bad, but yeah. So anyway, and by the way, I thought this was a great callback. I love this. What was the movie that Jeremy was watching while Corey was babysitting?
They were watching The Thing.
They were watching John Carpenter's The Thing from 1982.
The one that we just did our sci-fi show on.
Yes, the one we just covered on our classic sci-fi, which is also a John Carpenter film. But it's a great callback to the 1978 original Halloween. And the kids that Jamie Lee Curtis were watching the original Thing movie, The Thing from Outer Space, or whatever the actual title.
The Thing from Outer Space. Yes. Yeah. The original old 60s one. Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was a great callback. I was like, this is awesome. Nice job.
It was really nice. I was like, ooh, that's a big fat Easter egg right there.
Yeah, you're a kid. I liked it. And we got to see the scene where the head comes off. It was pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I was like, ooh.
So so what's the kid do? He goes and runs and hides. He also takes the
bread knife
and everything, and freaking Corey out and pretending like somebody's attacking him because they were just talking about Michael Myers. And he makes the comment, "Oh, I won't die because Michael Myers only kills the babysitter."
Yeah, which I thought was kind of funny. I was like, well, he's not quite off base with that.
Yeah. Apparently, Jeremy didn't watch the last movie because May and I discussed this afterwards. I'm like, wait a minute. I think he killed some kids in the last movie.
He did.
What did you say, Megan?
Yeah, it was the kids that wore the masks from
Halloween,
the third movie.
From Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
Right on.
Because you seen each one of the masks featured in the film, which was also pretty cool Easter.
Nice little callback. Right on. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I was like, that kid didn't watch the last movie because he did kill some kids. Sorry, you're wrong, pal.
Right. Well, even he bit it, so
Well, yeah, he did bit it. He did bite it. So then he manages to get Corey locked in a room upstairs.
I figured that was the attic or something, right?
Yeah, I guess.
It looked like it.
I think. And Corey's freaking out, because he's not letting him out and everything. And Corey starts kicking the door.
Yeah.
But
even you got to see, even with Corey, some of the darkness that was probably already in him.
Right.
And later on, you see his whole family situation. So I'm like, oh, okay, maybe that's,
Well, and that was touched on in the film too.
Right. Or did I skip that part?
Probably. Anyway, because later, Lori talks to Jeremy's dad, and we'll get to that. Jeremy's dad had an interesting anecdote on that, but so Corey kicks the door open and knocks the kid over the railing
banister, right?
Banister, and he falls 3 stories. That was a big house, man. That was a big freaking house. I want to know what those people did.
My house is bigger than that house. No, I'm just kidding. I'm teasing.
Yeah, because we make millions off this.
We make millions doing this podcast. That's right.
Yeah, after all, I do have a Corvette and a Batmobile, by the way. In my dreams. Anyway. So Corey accidentally kills this kid. And it was later stated in the movie by Corey's mom that Michael Myers disappeared, that Laurie's boogeyman disappeared, so the town needed a new boogeyman.
That was when she was yelling at Laurie Strode.
Right. I thought that was an interesting line too, because I'm like,
it was.
Yeah, you're kind of right. It's kind of true. I think the town over the last 40 years has gotten used to having a boogeyman, and when Michael Myers isn't in the news, I think they choose to have a different boogeyman, and Corey became the new boogeyman. So if you think of it from that aspect, I think he's got an interesting story, you know? But yeah,
I'm not saying it's not an interesting story. I would rather have seen this as a reboot development or something, but
the reboot was 2018, honestly.
Oh, I see what you mean. Sorry. Yeah. Or a continuation story or something like that. I don't know. I just
okay.
I wanted go ahead. Sorry.
Let's continue walking through this. Let's
sure.
Okay.
Did you give your score? Did I miss that? Did you give your score?
Yeah, I said 8.
8. Okay, sorry.
By the way, I watched it twice last night.
Oh yeah, how'd that happen?
Megan and I went and seen it at the theater. And then we came home, and Brenda was like, "Okay, so how was it?" I go, "Oh, you got to watch this," and she hates. I'm going to emphasize she hates Michael Myers.
Gotcha.
But I got her to watch it on Peacock.
Right on. How many Steven skips did you do? Did you do a bunch of Steven skips?
We didn't do any Steven skips. I don't do that crap. It's your thing, not mine. There's no such thing as a Mike skip.
Right on. Richard says, do you think the movie was all over the place?
There was a bit of jumping around. There's a little bit of slow spots. I followed it pretty well, though. I thought I did anyway.
Right.
Because, like, okay, so Laurie sees him being picked on, which that was interesting. The band kids are the bullies.
I don't like that.
Yeah, Megan doesn't like that because Megan was a band kid.
Band, right.
But I'm like, that's just so out of character that the band kids are the bullies in this. Whatever. Anyway, so yeah, Laurie comes across him. They, the band kids are trying to get him to go in to the convenience store to buy him beer, and he won't do it. And then they realize who he is, so then they start harassing him, and he gets mad and he crushes the
glass.
I guess they didn't have the permission to use Yoo-Hoo.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Yes.
They had a knockoff of Yoo-Hoo, which I've never seen before in my life.
Right.
Which I thought was funny. I'm like, why didn't you just use Yoo-Hoo? I don't get it. I guess Yoo-Hoo had to get
you got to do permissions for all that stuff. Yeah.
I guess, and they couldn't get permission. Usually what they do is they turn the label around.
Right.
When they do that. But yeah, anyway. So he crushes the bottle, and a Yoo-Hoo bottle is actually a glass bottle, and cuts his hand. So, and then I love it when Laurie comes over, because Laurie comes over. I love this. She carries a switchblade. That's freaking awesome, man. As somebody who carries a knife everywhere he goes, I respect that. That's cool. But she pulls out a switchblade and goes, "Are you going to do it, or should I?"
Yeah, that was great. That was good.
And he goes over and punctures one of their tires, which I'm sitting there going, I would have punctured all 4 of them. Come on. If you're going to do it right. Because you puncture all 4 of them, they ain't going nowhere for a while. You puncture one, it just slows them down, because then they got to change the tire.
Right.
Of course, then we find out later that the kid's such a wuss, he doesn't even know how to change a tire.
I think that scene was instrumental when they're there at the junkyard to change the tire, because you see the dad is very much mean to his son, kind of thing.
Yeah. It was showing the importance of the fact that this kid is also got a troubled family life and such. So now they alluded that Corey did And I think really the only thing we saw in the film, Corey's mom was nuts, you know.
Right.
And I think Corey's mom is she was either divorced or the father died, one of the two. Oh, morning, Theron. Anyway, I think she was either divorced or the father died, because the guy, the owner of the junkyard, seemed to be Corey's stepdad to me. And actually, he seemed very loving to Corey.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Corey's main issue was his mom was nuts. She was crazy. So there's a whole story there that we're missing. But yeah, so Lori then introduces him to Allison, the granddaughter, her granddaughter. And that's where your love story starts to begin. And I think the love story is more out of it's more of a, Lori's trying to set Allison up because Allison is kind of becoming recluse and staying away from people. But I think ultimately Allison ends up accepting Corey because she's rejecting Lori and the whole Michael Myers thing. And, it's kind of I think it's kind of a rebellion thing. I think it's what's happening. I think it's less of a love story and more of a rebellion story, honestly. I think she's rebelling against her grandmother. So that's just the way I looked at it, not to mention, I don't like sappy love stories. So
I don't want sappy love stories in my horror movies.
In my horror movies. Agreed. Maybe I'm trying to justify it. I don't know.
You like Warm Bodies. That's a love story.
Warm Bodies was different. That was a good movie. I really enjoyed that one. But yeah, that's very niche. So anyway, so then Allison and Corey go to a costume party. Now, this is what I thought was interesting, because she gives Corey this mask, and it's this cheap plastic scarecrow mask. But what I thought was interesting, at one point where he's standing in a bar, he cocks his head with the mask on, and I went, Michael Myers. I was like, he cocks his head exactly like Michael Myers. And it was that point where I was like, okay, are they gearing this kid up to take over? Is that what's going on? Because my thinking was, since day one that this was announced, Halloween Ends, I was like, is it truly going to end? Because, it's going on for 40 years.
Right.
And we've gotten what? So is it really going to end? Because they never seem to really end. So yeah, I thought they were gearing this kid up to be the next Michael Myers, and they've, the town has turned him into the monster, so there was that feeling that it was happening. And then he kind of has this weird bonding with Michael Myers where it's almost like he and Michael Myers are tag teaming,
Yes.
Like they're doing killings together.
Right. Agreed.
And,
Yep.
And I was just like, whoa, that's kind of weird. Now the other interesting thing I saw, you could physically, you could see that Michael Myers is physically getting old. He's slowing down. But I think, to me, it looked like, and you tell me if I'm misinterpreting this.
Sure.
But it looks like when he kills, it rejuvenates him.
Oh.
So like when he kills, okay, so we have the moment with the sheriff, the one sheriff who's got the hots for Allison. She sees him he sees her and Corey in the diner, and then he realizes who Corey is. He kind of berates her for having a date with Corey, so on and so forth. And then Corey gets in his face, which actually I thought was a good scene. I like that scene. But then we have the whole moment where he chases Corey, and Corey takes him to where Michael Myers is, his lair, more or less, I guess. And then draws him in, and Michael Myers kills him. But as he's stabbing him, it seems to me like Michael Myers is like standing up straighter. It looks like he's physically getting stronger as he kills him. So there's part of me that thinks that Michael Myers is
interesting.
Yeah. And Richard, yeah, you're right. He killed Corey killed the homeless guy, but it was that was when Corey first finds Michael Myers, and Michael Myers lets Corey go. That was weird. I didn't quite I guess because Laurie makes the comment, I should have known, I seen it in his eyes. I gotta remember something later at the end. But she said he had something in his eyes. It was the same as Michael Myers when I first saw Michael Myers. So, and then I guess Michael Myers sees that in his eyes too, and I guess that's why Michael Myers lets him go. That was a little confusing there. I was like, and
yeah, they did the whole they met eye to eye, and then all of a sudden, whoop, he saw his whole life story. Michael Myers saw his whole life story. I'm like, we've never set anything like that up in any of the movies, and I was like, whatever, you're pushing it, trying to make a connection. Okay, is this guy gonna be the next Michael Myers? Snore. Move along. I'm not here for story. I'm here for creative kills.
Well,
snore. Move it along. Skip.
I love it.
Skip.
You're into the kills now. That's so funny.
It's called purpose. The purpose of the film. Again, who said it? Who's your own wonderful wife said it. Slasher movies shouldn't be love stories driven. And I don't want any this whole this guy's crazy. He could be the next one. Well,
but again, I don't look at this as a love story. I look at more as rebellion. I think it's more rebellion than it is love.
Again,
I don't think she ever loved him.
Rebellion is a teenage drama flick. That is not what I want. My slasher.
Right,
I want my creative kills.
Every slasher film is teenage drama. Every single one.
All right, fair enough. You're right. I give that to you. I went back. Nightmare on Elm Street.
Jamie Lee Curtis is the original Scream Queen. She was a teenager. Well, she was playing a teenager. She was actually in her 20s. But she was playing a teenager film. So, and it was all about her and her friends and who was dating who. And that's no different than the original film. That is no different whatsoever. And it's a side story and it makes no difference. That's why I look at it more as a teenage rebellion story than I do a love story. I mean, she was rebelling against her grandmother. She was mad at her grandmother. She was tired of all the crap that had happened. So anyway, looked like you pinned a message.
I didn't mean to.
I didn't pin it.
Okay. I was like, did we miss something important? So yeah. Oh, I think Brenda put it well there. He felt a brotherhood with him. Yeah.
Okay, I'll go with that.
I'll go with that too. But yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that the Corey storyline was great. I think it was just a means to an end, honestly. I think it was a way to perpetrate, get Michael out. I think that's all it was. It was to help rejuvenate Michael Myers and get him out.
Okay.
Kind of went into hiding. And like Lori said,
which was kind of weird.
Well, it's been 4 years.
Yeah. Well, because the first two movies took place on the same night, that Halloween night thing or whatever, right?
Right. It was like the night and the night after or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. So I watched one of my favorite YouTubers for movie reviews is Jeremy Johns, and I've been watching him for years. And he had this interesting concept of saying, it was almost like they had two different movies. It was like Halloween said, hey, we've got an ending, but we don't have a movie. Oh, here's an old script. Hey, Oh, that's unfinished. You don't have an ending for yours? Well, guess what? We have an ending. We just need a movie. You have a movie, but you don't have an ending. So let's just put the two together. I thought, yeah, that's kind of how I felt about this. I was like, well, we got to figure out some way to get Michael Myers in. But it wasn't, while it had Michael Myers, I think the only really part of this movie being a Halloween franchise film was the last 20 minutes. The last 30 minutes. The third act was total, yes, Halloween. So the first two acts were like, oh, okay, there was this other guy's story, and we'll throw in Michael Myers to try to create some kind of thing and stuff. I will say, I do like your theory on killing refuels Michael Myers, because they, being in the drain in the swamp or the little drain there where, who said it? Pennywise moved out. That was Brenda. That was a good one, Brenda.
Well, as soon as they showed the drain pipe, Megan goes, "What does he think? He's it now?"
Right. So they did show him frail. Michael Myers, excuse me. They showed Michael Myers frail. I'm like, why is he frail? Why is he so frail? Here comes little old Corey, who's able to fight with Michael Myers to take his mask, kind of a thing.
Oh yeah,
I need something from you.
Well, I mean, he was able to kind of take Michael down, and I think that's because Michael's still weak. But at one point, yeah, he's no match for Michael Myers whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he comes when Michael Myers shows up and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's when Corey starts doing the killings. Like he kills all the band kids, which was interesting because, so when we first saw the junkyard and you see the shredder,
yes.
thing, Megan immediately, that was good. Megan goes, somebody's dying in that. And I said, yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, they're focusing on it too much. Somebody is going to die in that. And both of us were positive it was going to be one of the band kids. We figured right away, when the band kids show up at the junkyard, we're like, oh, well, here it is. Somebody's going into that shredder. And then it didn't happen. And we're like, oh, interesting. So they saved it, and which I thought was great. I love the way they used it.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yes,
you called it. You just didn't call the right character. That's all.
Yeah, we'll get to the end here in a few moments.
Yeah.
I do want to say this or ask you this. What was your favorite kill? Because that's kind of the thing with some of these Halloween movies. There's all these different kind of kills and stuff, but it could be any of them, Corey or Michael's, whatever.
Corey had some interesting kills because like he used the torch.
The blowtorch was the one that's my choice.
Yeah,
because that was not only it was good filmmaking because you knew what he was doing, but they didn't quite show it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that left it to the imagination. And oh my goodness, I was like,
it was gruesome.
That was yeah.
Although I think my favorite Michael Myers kill, there wasn't a whole lot of Michael Myers kills, but my favorite
made.
My favorite actual Michael Myers kill was at the doctor's house with the nurse, and when he stabs her to the wall, and then I looked at Megan and I go, she's gonna hang around for a while.
Oh, I wonder if any. Well played. Well played.
Oh, also, I have to give a shout out. I do not know the names. I should have got their names, but we had a couple sitting on the other side of us. They were a lot of fun to go see the movie with. I gave her one of our stickers, so hopefully she'll be listening today or sometime soon. But yeah, she was a lot of fun. She laughed at my jokes. And she made some pretty good jokes herself. So they were fun to see the movie with. I got to say, the most fun I think we have ever had in a Halloween movie going to the theaters was the 2018, because man, that crowd was so into the movie. There were people screaming. It was so much fun. Halloween Ends, the crowd we saw was not quite as into it as the crowd we saw it with 2018. And then this crowd, but again, there wasn't as many kills, so there wasn't as much jump as the others. So I gotta say 2018. What?
So unless your mom.
Oh yeah. Yes, your mother, she about broke my hand last night watching it. It was insane.
So when she says, Michael, is she talking about you or is she talking about Mr. Myers?
Well, I don't go around killing people, so.
Well, that's good. That's good to know.
Oh, Theron made a comment. H2O, Busta Rhymes went toe-to-toe with Mike.
That was
nice.
Richard had asked, what's your guys' favorite Halloween movie?
Okay, I disclosure here, I have not seen every Halloween movie.
Yeah,
I do want to go back and watch every single one. My favorites, and you got to remember, now with the 2018 one, they have pretty much wiped out everything after the 1978. So, anyway, right now the original is my favorite. I think it's the best of all, and then I think 2018 is my second favorite because it's so close to the original. I love it. Jason and Freddy have the best kills.
Theron
out for fighting.
Theron just he likes to argue with me.
Right?
Oh, Richard says his is the Rob Zombie Halloween. Interesting. I like the Rob Zombie Halloween. But I'm more into the backstory on the Rob Zombie version. I did not like his portrayal of Michael's mother in it. I thought that was weird. I didn't care for that much. But I really liked the backstory that he gives to Michael. I thought it was interesting and it was different. And to address Theron, Jason is a mama's boy. Michael killed his mom. And Freddy is pretty freaking cool. Anyway. Not cooler than Michael, but Freddy's cool.
Right on. Okay.
And Freddy has the best lines. He has got the best one-liners. But that's only because Michael and Jason don't talk.
Right.
It's hard to have a one-liner when you don't talk.
Right.
All right. So
that's true. We never did hear that. That's true. We never did hear either one of them talk, or Michael in any of these. No grunts, even.
Michael doesn't talk.
He doesn't talk.
That's part of the scary aspect of Michael.
I will say that was the most creative kill in this one, where he killed the disc jockey and cut out his tongue.
Oh yeah, I did forget about that. I like that. Actually, that was a good one. And him cutting the tongue out, and then the tongue falls on the record, and the needle keeps skipping over.
Yeah,
that was funny.
I was like, okay, yeah, that is a Michael Myers type kill right there.
I didn't like him either. That guy was a jerk.
Right.
It's sad when the victims, you're like, they kind of deserved it.
Right. You had it coming to you,
I mean, just about every victim in this did. Just about. I mean, the homeless guy didn't really deserve it. He was just nuts.
Well, he was nuts, yeah, and he tried to attack. I always thought that was just kind of a self-defense kill.
I was gonna say you could at least the first part of it, because at first it is definitely self-defense, and then he kind of goes overboard. When Michael Myers does.
Yeah, when he's like, go back in there and get the mask, I'm Michael Myers, but I just took that as he's a crazy homeless guy, I still don't know if he quite deserved it. Not like, the band kids were jerks, they pretty much
one.
They were all jerks. I mean,
well, the one was not. There was one that wasn't.
Let me ask you this: did she run away from the band? Did she run away from her friends?
She did try to get them to stop.
She stayed with them. She's guilty. She's guilty by association. Sorry. Anyway, They were jerks. The little kid was a jerk. The DJ was a jerk. The doctor was a major jerk, and the nurse, she was just as bad. Is that all the victims? I think that was all the victims, right?
Yeah, except for the guy that was kind of like his stepdad.
His stepdad, that sucked.
That one did. I was like, oh,
and his mom, she was a jerk. She was insane, crazy, and a total witch. So, geez. So Richard says, "What did you think when Lori cut Michael's wrist?"
Okay, let's get to the end then. Let's do that. Let's do this.
Oh wait, you asked who was the best kill. Oh, okay. Yeah. So we get to Michael's in the house now. Michael shows up at Lori's house.
Oh wait, this is where it actually became a Halloween movie, right?
Well, first we have Corey showing up, and Corey's confronting her because she doesn't want Corey dating Allison, and we have this whole thing between Corey and Lori. That's hard to say. Oh yeah, that was something else. You know the scene where Corey goes back to the house? Sorry, squirrel. You know the scene where Corey goes back to the house where he killed the little kid when he was babysitting, and he sees Lori. Was Lori actually there, or was that in his head?
Oh, I just figured Lori was actually there.
I don't know, because at some point he turns around and she's gone.
Yeah, but he goes into the next room and the window was open, so I figured, she must have just gone right out that window.
Yeah, but see, the window could have just been open the whole time.
Okay, fair enough. That's an interesting thing. Yeah.
I was just questioning it because Corey's kind of losing it. He's a little crazy. So I was questioning whether she was actually there. And then
if Corey had lived in the inn and they had kind of passed it on, I would totally be on board with you on that. Totally.
Well, and then
I don't care because he's dead.
Fine.
It is interesting. I didn't think about it that way. That's what I'm saying. I think that is a fair question.
Well, and then the very next scene that you see Lori in, she's wearing totally different clothes.
Dude, you are perceptive. Wow.
So I don't think she was actually there. I think he imagined that whole conversation with her. That was just my perception of it. See, Richard agrees with me. It's in his head. I think it was in his head too.
Yeah.
So we have that whole incident where he shows up, and she kind of tricks him into showing up because she fools everybody into thinking, and she did fool me for a second, that she was going to commit suicide and she's going to blow her head off with a 38. And I was like, no, Lori can't go out this way. That's just no. I mean, if Lori's going to die, I wanted her to die in a blaze of glory, man.
I thought the same thing. Yeah. I'm like, this has got to be a trick.
Right. I'm like this. And I liked where they went with it because they used it to draw Corey out,
Yes.
And I thought that was cool. So, and then she calls in a suicide into 911, and then Corey shows up. And she's like, did you really think I was going to kill myself? And then she shoots him, which I thought was a great scene.
So you figured she knew it was Corey?
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. The whole time. So then we have the exchange between her and Corey. And then Corey makes that comment, well, if I can't have her, nobody can have her. And he stabs himself in the neck.
That was weird. Yeah.
Well, I mean, but then you saw what happened. Lori pulls the knife out of his neck. She's standing above him with a bloody knife, and he's laying on the floor, and Allison walks in.
Yeah, I was like, horror movie 101, don't touch the knife. What are you doing?
Well, that was no different from when Corey stabs the homeless guy, and then he chucks the knife. Both Megan and I are going, you're an idiot.
Right? Exactly.
Your fingerprints are on that knife, you dummy.
Yeah.
And it's set in the present.
Right. Where they find stuff easily now, much more easily than they would have.
Yes.
Much more easier.
Much more easier.
Oh, much more easier. There we go. Chink chink. We'll go with that.
That's close enough to much more better, right? So, but okay, there's that moment when she looks into Corey's eyes there, and to me, his eyes just look black. And all I could hear in my head was Jaws. It's got black eyes. It's like a doll's eyes.
That's great.
Darren put Michael has arthritis. Wait a minute. What else did he say?
He put an emoji because sometimes that is the emojis don't show up through Restream for some reason.
I didn't hear you all funky for me.
Oh, sometimes some emojis don't pop up in our Restream feed.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, I agree. Michael did kind of have arthritis, but that's also the kills were bringing him back. I said that earlier. So so now we get to the real fight because Corey's dead at this point, which I was like, interesting, because now Corey can't really take over for Michael. You know, so yeah, that's where it became muddy. It's like, okay, I don't know where the heck you're going with this then. But
well, my initial thought, he comes in and kills him, was like, that was cool. But then my brain went, so you just wasted. If I had not Steven skipped, I probably would have been really mad that you wasted my whole time introducing a character only to get him bumped off.
No, you know what? The funny thing is, it just got you to root for Michael. Think about that a minute.
I don't know if I go that far, but that's pretty funny, though. I will think about that.
I think it did. I think it got you rooting for Michael.
Yeah, because I just didn't like that character.
I know.
Like, I guess all the other ones. Maybe that was the whole point, is all the victims were bad people.
They were jerks. They
except for the one guy, but he wasn't killed by Michael nor Corey. He was killed by the
he was killed by one of the main band kid who was the biggest jerk of them all. So yeah, now we get to the moment. This is the pinnacle of the movie. This is the best part of the movie. The fight between Lori and Michael. And she nails him down to the table in the kitchen, which was amazing. And then slices his throat. Well, takes his mask off, slices his throat. And then, of course, I'm like, he ain't dead.
Right.
As much as this guy's been through, he's not dead. And sure enough, he kind of sits up, you know. And then she pushes the refrigerator on him.
Right. I'm glad it was a stainless steel fridge. Easy to clean.
Well, yeah. Did you see how clean and pristine the kitchen was after everything was done? It was beautiful.
Yeah, it was like.
And there was no marks in the table from nailing Michael down to it.
Right. I was just like, this is weird. This is out of. Yes, I did notice. Yes.
Man, they cleaned up quick.
They sure did, by God.
You know what it is? They got Mike from Walking Dead. I mean, he's kind of known as the cleaner, so or not Walking Dead, but from Breaking Bad. I'm sorry. Breaking Bad.
Gotcha.
So, Mike's kind of known as the cleaner, so he shows up and cleans up the scenes and stuff that, you know, that anyway. So that's what they did. They hired Mike. Mike came in, his crew cleaned it up, and they make it perfect. They really do. So yeah, so she nails him down and everything, and then she slices his wrists, which was
she did his neck first,
right?
So the jugular. And then did his wrist. Yes.
And then I love it when the sheriff shows up and he's like, we're not done.
Right.
It was glorious. I was like, oh, this is such a fitting end. And we have I don't know if it was a funeral procession or a parade.
Yeah.
I could not decide, is this a funeral procession or a parade? You know? And they strap Michael to the top, I guess, of Lori's car and drive him down to the junkyard. and Laurie pushes him into the grinder, the metal grinder.
The grinder. Mm-hmm.
And you watch him just go.
Right. Yeah.
So I thought it was a glorious end to Michael Myers.
It was a good end. Yes. My only complaint about that end was like they showed that, the kind of whole blood splatter stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute. I thought they drained all his blood out of him.
I don't know. There's quite a bit of blood in the body. So
yeah, no, it's all right. So anyway, but I thought it was a good.
Besides, you gotta have blood for a horror flick,
right?
Right.
So I would say that with the ending though, there with his head being the last thing to go, I was like, yeah, that was good stuff. That was a good end.
Yeah. So when I came home,
Michael Myers,
Brenda first says to me, "So, did Evil die tonight?" And I go, "I don't know. You got to watch it."
Oh,
and she's like, "Well, I'm going to hear you on the podcast tomorrow." And I'm like, she goes, "Fine, I'll watch it." And she's like, "Did they cut off his head? Because that's the only way they're going to kill him is by cutting off his head." I'm like, "Just watch. Right. They do way more than cut off his head. They chopped it in little pieces."
Right.
Yeah, I don't think he's coming back this time.
Right.
The only way he can come back now is if it's the ghost of Michael Myers.
Right.
So I thought it was in all, overall, I thought it was a good ending to the series. I really liked it. And I was a little surprised because, like I said, these things never seem to end. And I did not expect that ending.
Has the potential.
Well, I mean, there is a potential that Corey could still take over because we never saw his body leave. We don't know what they did with Corey's body.
Right.
And they didn't throw it in the car grinder.
Right.
Right.
Oh, Richard gave it a 7 out of 10.
So did I.
I gave it an 8. I don't think 7's a bad score, though.
It's okay. It gets a C. C's get degrees. I heard that this last week. It cracked me up.
Nice. And as far as the Evil Dies Tonight, no, it was not mentioned one time in the film. However, in Laurie's writings, she makes some comment that sounded similar to Evil Dies, but it wasn't exactly the same.
It was good. It was saying that evil never dies; it just changes shape.
And changes.
I liked that.
Shape was important because Michael Myers is known as the Boogeyman, and he's known as the Shape. Those are his two nicknames.
Oh, I didn't know that. I knew the Boogeyman, but never the Shape.
Yeah, the Shape is another nickname for Michael Myers.
Oh, I like that. That's awesome. That's a great ending on that.
If you look at the IMDb, the guy who played Michael Myers, is actually credited as the Shape.
Right. He's not credited as Michael Myers. He's credited as the Shape.
And there's 3 people in the original credited for 2 of them for Michael Myers, and 1 of them for the Shape as well.
Read Angie's comment. I thought Angie left.
I did too.
Right.
Did you see the interview with Jamie Lee Curtis on Graham Norton? They had a security guard with her at the showing because they thought she was going to pirate her own movie, and the guy was freaking out the whole movie. Really? Jamie Lee Curtis would pirate? That's crazy. Wow. No, I did not. That's insane. Wow.
That's funny. Interesting.
Richard says the first Halloween is the best. Richard, I would agree with you. The first Halloween, 1978, John Carpenter's classic, is the best. And then I would say 2018 is the second best. Corey will absorb his soul and reincarnate him. I believe there is a possibility of that. I believe that could happen. John Wick is
They call him the Baba Yaga. In John Wick, they call him the Baba Yaga.
Oh, gotcha.
Which is
I haven't
Boogeyman.
watched John Wick movies. I need to watch those.
That's a movie too, isn't it?
What's that? Would you say, Megan?
Baba Yaga, isn't that a movie too?
I think it is. Yeah, that name. Yes. Yeah.
Yes, Brenda, you need to watch the 2018. We can do that today.
Mom, you said we were going to watch all of them.
Ooh, little trilogy action.
I wouldn't mind watching Halloween too, actually. Halloween.
You know, it makes me wonder, how many John Carpenter films have we watched? We've seen several.
Well, technically, these Halloweens are not John Carpenter.
No, but they're built on John Carpenter's classic.
Now, he did still do the soundtracks for each of these, though. He and his son have done the soundtracks for each of these. He's continued that tradition. But he has been involved with all of the new films, because the guy who did the new films, I saw an interview with both him and John Carpenter when 2018 came out, and he made the comment that when he was asked to do this, he said, "Are you getting John?" And they said, "Well, no, we haven't approached John." And he said, "If you don't get John, I'm not on board." He goes, "John has to be on board with this, because if it does not go with his concept, I don't want anything to do with it." So, I mean, John has loosely been involved with these, but I wouldn't call these his creation. So,
but they're built on his.
Yeah, they're definitely
creation. Gotcha.
It's like Star Wars is built on George Lucas. So,
yeah.
All right.
I guess so.
You guess so what? Oh, it's Star Wars.
George Lucas, right?
Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni stuff is.
They're doing good, yes.
Everything else, I don't know.
Right.
Anyway, this isn't about Star Wars. This is about Halloween. So, yeah, that's about all I got on Halloween.
Okay, cool beans.
So, yeah, Halloween ends and evil did die last night.
Right. Right. It did.
And excuse me. I was slightly sad walking out of the movie theater, because I was like,
really?
No more Halloween.
Do you think they'll reboot again? Reboot the reboot?
Probably. Probably.
Start it all over again.
The only reason I say that is because, like Lori says in her book, evil never dies, it just changes shape. So
it may not necessarily be Michael Myers, but they'll introduce someone very similar in style.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking. And I don't actually think it'll be Corey. I think Corey's done.
I think Corey's done.
I think he was just a means to the end. That was it. I think that was his whole purpose. His purpose was to draw Michael out, I think, and to get a tension point between Allison and Lori.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Your lovely wife says she needs tacos and a margarita if you guys are watching 2018 Halloween.
How about a euro?
I'll let you guys figure that out.
Making lunch plans on the show.
I know, right? All right, everybody, we are bringing this to a close. Thank you so much for joining us as we're ending the Halloween Ends episode. It's so great that you joined us. Everybody, thanks for the chat and the interactions. I love it. We've had some good comments and good discussions. And if we didn't get to your sorry, sometimes the thing scrolls faster than I'm reading. So, but anyway,
great today, by the way. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's been really good. So thank you. I just want to say, Mike, great insight today. You had some really good stuff that you've got me thinking about. So it's, I would have said before that I wasn't going to watch it again because I have other things I want to watch, but because of some of your statements today, I've got, I probably should go back, and now you've got me curious. So,
what? Maybe you and I should do a little watch party together. We can watch it together, and we can riff on it.
So that means I don't get to do Steven skips, right?
Yeah, that way I force you into actually watching the movie.
Right? Go for Fluffernut. You're very welcome. Thanks for joining us. It's good to have you in the chat. Thank you. Richard, great to have you with us. Roger was in there for a while. Thank you. Theron, good to have you with us. And also our wonderful Sage Page Omega, who joined us. We've had good interactions with him. And then who am I missing? Brenda, Angie, everybody in the chat. Thank you so much. And if you didn't chat, everybody, make sure that next time you join us, remember next week we are doing Black Adam. So we'd love to get your insights and inputs in that, especially with what we talked about earlier with what's going to be in the post credits and all that. So,
and thank you to Megan for chiming in.
Yes. Did I not say Megan? I'm sorry, Megan. I thought I did. Megan, thank you for your insights. Thank you. So with that being said, everybody check us out on our website, 2geeksmic.com, the number 2, GEEKSMIC.com. The reason for that is our hub and where you can get to all our other stuff. We've got our merch page, which I guess we're going to have to do some skip shirts.
Skip this.
Skip this. Skippity doo-dah.
I really like that. Skip this.
Skip this. Skip happens. So with that being said, also please check out our Ko-fi page. Go to our link, Ko-fi 2geeks/2geeks. That just helps support us. Really, we're just paying for our expenses to do the show and just interact with everybody. We do appreciate it. We do have a membership tier system. It's only $1 a month, $2 a month, or $3 a month. There's different things. You can see that on Ko-fi, just like Patreon, but we like it much more betterer because cheers. They don't take anything off the top. The only fees that we get hit with are just the transfer fees. That's it.
And so if we reach our goal by next week.
If we reach our goal, is it next week?
Yeah, it's next week.
Next week, because you got to do it. Okay, if we reach our goal, good old Mike is gonna. For some reason, I thought we had another month because I was thinking orange and thinking pumpkins and thinking Halloween, or excuse me, thinking Thanksgiving. So if we reach our goal next month, with Mike is gonna do his goatee. Diet orange. I can't wait. All right.
Please get those contributions in. We'd really appreciate that.
It does help us quite a bit. We thank you. So, all right. Well, with that, Mike, is there anything else we need to chit chat about?
No, I think we covered all the bases today.
All right. Well, I'll leave it to you to sign us out, my friend.
All right. With that said, over and out. And Evil died last night. Thank you for joining us today on the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast. Tune in next week when we will have more news and reviews. Until then,
may the force be with you.